Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. You can catch the show live, usually Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, we had to do it on Saturday instead because lack of internet where I'm at. You'd think that you could find internet in America. I don't know. But anyway, I was in the mountains, and in the mountains I didn't find internet, and oh well, just had to push the weekly news roundup a day. But anyway, they are usually recorded 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Friday nights. Catch the show live there on 5 different platforms: YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, and DLive. And we'll look at adding other ones. There was another one I just remembered that I was going to look into, and we'll get into that. Let me know if you'd like me to start living also to Joshu TV if possible. I have an account over there, and I'd be glad to get it set up if I can. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive right on into the privacy news, and then we have our security news. Privacy news: Facebook users are suing Meta over building a secret workaround to the Apple privacy safeguards. Of course, Apple, and it has been basically revealed, Apple's been trying to develop their own ad network, and so they're producing, they're doing a bunch of little things, including all these, required privacy things, and Facebook did not like this. They had this massive fight back and forth between the two about what's going on with all this kind of stuff, and in response to all of that kind of stuff there, I need to shift myself over a little bit, my apologies, and in response to that little bit there, Facebook started doing some backdoor things, which we reported on these separately in the past. Both Facebook and Instagram are doing this, where when you open up a link, it doesn't open it in the default browser. It opens up in a browser inside of Facebook or inside of Instagram, and then this allows a lot more tracking because they will then inject some JavaScript on the page in order to track anything and everything that you are doing. So they have a way to work around and still collect a bunch of data on people, bypassing iOS privacy tools and not really making it super well known. So in the case of the Meta, the JS code is the Meta Pixel, which I need to start adding the Meta Pixel stuff to my block list. So I'm already adding the Facebook Pixel list, but I'm sure I need to update my block list on my website there. Anyway, basically what's going on is a lot of people are alleging that Facebook is getting around this, and this is bad for privacy, and they like the privacy settings, and so they are collecting together to formulate a class action lawsuit to enrich some lawyer somewhere while giving the rest of them about, a quarter or something. But anyway, it's at least good to get the word out that Facebook is getting around iOS privacy. Don't think that you're going to get better privacy from Facebook because you are on iOS. The only way to get privacy on Facebook is to delete the thing from the system. Absolutely, hands down. Next story. Apps can pose a bigger security privacy threat based on where you download them. This is not talking about, I'm going to download it on the Google Play Store versus F-Droid. No. This is the Google Play Store regionally, because these companies, of course, Google, since they dropped their Don't Be Evil moniker, now they get away with everything they can possibly get away with at all times. And so if they're in a country that's like, we have no laws, we have guerrilla warfare going on in the streets, nobody cares about anything like data privacy, oh yeah baby, we're stocking up and we're putting everything in those apps you possibly can to do maximum damage. And then you get a country that's super keen on the privacy settings, and we're going to Gestapo you and sue you into oblivion if you happen to put any data out there. Hey, you know what, we're going to go ahead and collect a little bit less data in those regions. So this isn't like what app stores are using, this is the app stores. And then the article gets into the fact that, Google and stuff will take down applications based on when the government says you got to take it down. Like they took down LinkedIn in one country. Was it Russia or Korea? I don't know. But they took it down. LinkedIn. LinkedIn was taken down by Russia. Russia said to Google, hey, you got to take LinkedIn out of store. That's bad stuff. And so they did, Mobile phone giants removed 200 Chinese apps that had a lot of information, but that's that. But what's happening is when you download it in Germany versus United States, there's different meta trackers involved. And so here is instances of, so attempting to download LinkedIn app on Google Apps Play Store is different from so here's the United States, here's Iran, and here is Russia. So in Russia, it does even show up, and in Iran, you can't download it, but it shows up in the United States, you can download it. Well, not only do they make those differentials, but they're packaging the app completely different for each of these different regions. So if you're in Germany, you get the Germany specific app. You may not know the difference, but the difference is the meta packages that they're putting behind the scenes that don't have anything to do with user experience, that are collecting data and feeding it back to the company. This is why you never use phone apps unless the rare and weird cases you absolutely have to. So this could be a good argument for using a VPN in some instances where you do your research, you figure out which country has the least possibility of data collection, use the VPN, spoof that country, and see if you can get that country's version of the app instead of the data hog version of the app. I'm not 100% sure if that's how they do it, if it's the Play Store is linked or if it's linked to your geolocation. I'm not sure which one, so don't quote me that a VPN will get around that. It's just in theory possible that I just thought of this and I'm not sure, but you can get around your geolocations with a VPN. So maybe you can do that with the apps as well. It's worth looking into. And if somebody has real, solid, actual information about that, please leave that in the comments down below. But that's my speculation. Cloudflare launches an eSIM to protect mobile devices. I am leery of the company Cloudflare. They are going to appear also in our business news section this week. Cloudflare itself, I'm not a huge fan of them because they are trying to gain a solid monopoly on the internet. If Cloudflare goes down, the internet goes down in most cases. If Cloudflare goes goofy, the internet goes goofy. If Cloudflare decides to become Hitler reincarnate, then the entire internet is now controlled by Hitler reincarnate. And no, his name is not Trump. But that being said, what they're trying to do is get away from a SIM, which is tied to your carrier, and get you using a SIM that's their end. And like the company Brave, they say a lot of good sounding things. There's just a lot of dubious stuff going on in the background that makes me have a Tory feeling about what they're doing. All right, so what they're doing is the positives here is they want to create a SIM called Zero Trust. You're never just trusting the SIM, you're always verifying it. All right, never trust, always verify, where devices are never trusted automatically, even if they have been previously verified or are already connected to a gated corporate network. Okay, that sounds great on paper. And if that's all it was, hey, that sounds really good. Always do this kind of stuff. This is good. Get around a lot of weird things. The problem is, read a little bit behind the lines here, what will users get? Employees will be able to get their monthly data costs covered by their employer if they agree to let Cloudflare direct their work-related traffic via the SIM through a network that has zero trust protections. Well, if you're basically giving up money, are they just generous? They're just going to pay your fees. Oh no. You understand this. That SIM card is just like your ISP. Every single thing you do, they know. This is a data collection ploy. This is not, oh, an awesome, secure, amazing SIM card. This is a data collection ploy. That's what they're doing. They're paying people, effectively paying people to use their free service. Sounds like Microsoft. Sounds like Facebook. Sounds like all these companies where if you're not paying for it, you are the product being sold. And unless I see evidence to the contrary, I don't like this, especially since Cloudflare does a lot of things to try and capture monopolies and try and hide data behind their own private algorithm systems. And that can be problematic. So Cloudflare claims, oops, my mouse wheel is going a little crazy on me lately. Cloudflare claims the solution will be straightforward to install and all users will need to do is scan a QR code, which can be embedded in an employer's onboarding materials. So basically you have your phone, you're getting a job, and the company's like, here, scan this and let us take over your phone. Yeah, right. Tell me another one. That's a funny joke. Additionally, the new SIM will additionally allow firms to mitigate common SIM-based attacks, with Cloudflare saying an eSIM-first approach allows us to prevent SIM swapping or cloning attacks by locking SIMs to individual employee devices, bring the same protections to physical SIMs. Okay, this again is another one of the positives. You can lock the SIM to the particular device. It can't be stolen. Well, I think all the eSIMs do lock. I'm not 100% certain about that one either, but nevertheless, there's problems when they're putting out so much to get all these people onto their product. I have serious concerns about this because Cloudflare they're not this completely data open philanthropic organization. They are a corporation. And we have to think, what are they doing with all of this data? Especially since this is the one guy that woke up one day. The guy at Central Control wakes up one day and says, I just didn't want that site on the internet, and so I just took it down. That's the type of capricious man that you want running your SIM card. Yeah. All right. So we're not covering it in the security section, but we will mention it briefly. There was a big cyber attack on Australia's biggest telecommunication company called Optus, and you would figure that this impacted the whole world because every single news outlet covered this in nth detail ad infinitum, and they still are. I should say ad nauseum, not ad infinitum. Not forever, but to a nauseous amount. That's what I'm trying to say. The Optus cyber attack company opposed changes to privacy laws, giving customers more rights to their data. So this is a classic example of this is the company that they stood in the way to fight against changes that would provide more data protections for people. So people basically had been fighting for more data privacy protections. This company fought against it. No, we need all this information. This is going to hurt our business, blah, blah, blah. And of course, they got what they wanted. And then they were hacked, and basically it leaked everybody's information, payment details, driver's license details, names, addresses, phone numbers, all this kind of stuff. Raising questions. Why do you need your driver's license stored forever to sign up for a telecom? Why do you even need to provide a driver's license at all? I'm not driving my car down your internet lines. Thank you very much. Okay, well, we need to verify who you are. I'm here, I'm paying you a bill. That's enough verification. You know what I mean? I mean, really. But in response to this breach, it's caused a lot of questions. Of course, the first question is why these guys fight so hard to keep and hold on to data that then they let somebody steal. Of course, now it's raising more questions. Companies could be forced to delete customer data used to prove ID, Labor suggests. This is in Albany. The Albanese government is considering sweeping overhaul of data retention and privacy laws following the Optus cyber hack. Basically saying, okay, if we need to verify your ID, you can verify the ID. That gets you the gatekeeper into it. You verify the ID, but there's no reason you need somebody's driver's license or other identification outside of you've onboarded them, you know who they are, you verify they exist, they now have their customer number. Now tie everything to that random customer number. So if everything leaks, great, I got somebody's random customer number. Awesome. We can regenerate customer numbers in the case of a breach, and we're all good. So with that being said, it's raising a lot of questions that a lot of people are starting to say, hey, maybe if you need to verify somebody's identity, you're not allowed to hold on to that information. It needs to be immediately deleted. You verified, now you're verified, done. So it's raising questions about, is the data that you need right now to create the account different than the data you would need to sustain the account in the longer run? This is a bigger question, and these are the questions I think that are worth asking, and we need laws in this country and around the world about this, because there's no earthly reason an ISP needs your driver's license, okay? There's no reason under the sun. I not to verify your identity. Well, what are you verifying? Why? Of course, a lot of in America at least ties back to the Patriot Act, once again, with the Know Your Customer laws. Know your customer. You know what? You don't need to know me. In a capitalist society, you don't need to know me any more than here's my money, give me your service. Any more than that, screw it. We don't need any of that stuff. We need to completely repeal the Patriot Act and completely get rid of every moron in every Congress and every Senate who wants to continue having it, because it's done nothing but destroy trust in our society, produce data systems by which people are going to, apparently I got so riled up, my watch told me that the move bar is now cleared. I've been walking steps. All right. Anyway, all the Patriot Act has done is left a digital footprint for thieves and hackers to break in and steal. We need a renaissance back to the good old days of capitalism where you don't need anything more than here's the payment, give me my product. Period. That's what we need. And on to our final story in privacy news. Fitbit will now require a Google account to use new devices and features from 2023. Oh, that's just a couple months away. And in 2025, you will no longer have access to the Fitbit account at all. They are syncing all of your health data onto Google servers. 5 years ago, I've been telling people on this channel when we first started that Fitbit's exit strategy is to sell to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is going to be a health insurance company. I told people this for years. Well, who buys it? Google. Are they a health insurance company? It turns out they are. Yeah, they have, Google has a division where they are working on health insurance policies. They, of course, do a lot of medicine types things. So now you can be completely opted in to medical studies based on the fact that Google now has your medical data and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, all this Google data is being shared all sorts of different places for profit or for other purposes, to the point where now we're getting to the point where, you want to get out there and get some health insurance, well, they're just going to ping it off of Google. Oh, are you really walking 5 miles a day? Are you really getting 8 hours of sleep a night? Are you really exercising? These are things these watches and devices can tell. And if you have an insurance plan and you're paying out, $10,000 a year for an insurance plan, which is already ridiculous, you're doing that kind of stuff. And then what happens is they look down and you have some cardiac event or something, and they deny your claim, saying, you just don't take care of yourself. We can't help you out because of this. Well, look at car warranties. If you go out and buy a new car and you get this big long warranty, if you fail to get the oil changed, they're not going to honor your warranty because you didn't fail to maintain the car. So what motivation do these health insurance companies have to pay your claims when you're not doing the basic things for basic health? Look, I go, well, you've neglected your body. We can see from all of this health data over the last 5 years that Google provided to us that you're not actually getting 5 miles of walking a day. You're not getting good sleep. You're not exercising on a regular basis. So, your claim is denied because you're not doing the basics of basic medicine. And so, sorry, we just can't help you. That's exactly where we are going. Is exactly where we are going. You guys need to take these things that connect to other people's services, every one of them, take those things off of those company servers and heave them into the trash can. And if you need something, the one I have is one of the few devices that I can get the information I need off of it, and I don't have to connect it to anybody's devices. This watch does not send any data to anybody's servers, but I can look at it and I can tell right now my basic heart rate. I can tell my steps today. I can see a basic goal of activities. I can see my activity level. I can see the last 10 exercises I've done. I can get all this data without looking at you. Look at this. Look at how much. Think about the fool over the upcoming holiday dinner table, Thanksgiving or Christmas. Oh, my Fitbit's so cool. Look at this. I pull out my phone and see it tells me all my steps that I've done, and look at my sleep and all this other stuff. You're like, oh, this is so cool. No, you're just providing this information to your health insurance company to use against you. And Google is forcing you now to tie all that stuff to their servers, and they're going to be forcing you to migrate all your existing data to their services within the next 2 years. Get rid of these things. They do not help you. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have affiliates. Today we're actually highlighting our Switch to Linux shop. You can get some alien gear. You can grab some basic Switch to Linux stuff. I even have some coffee mugs with cats and tinfoil hats and stuff like that on it. This is over at shop.switchtolinux.com. You can grab t-shirts, hats, baby onesies, hoodies, all sorts of other fun stuff you can grab over there. With that, let's head on over to security news. And I believe we only have a couple in security today. So first up in security, Twitter fixes a bug that leaves devices logged in after password reset. So Twitter thinks that your password was hacked. It thinks some other device has it. It's like, hey, this weird odd cell phone is connected. We've never seen this before. So it sends you a notification, hey, this thing looks like somebody else is taking it. Do you want to... you want to change your password? Yeah, absolutely. So you change your password. They never logged out any of those other devices. Usually if you change your password, it should completely reset all security authorization tokens, and every device now has to sign back into Twitter again. That's what has to happen. Okay? Twitter didn't do that. You could change your password, and now if you ever need to re-enter your password, it's a new password. But every device that was logged in stayed logged in. They finally fixed it, but after who knows how much data was lost in the mix. All right, Metador, a never-before-seen group, has targeted ISPs and telecommunications and universities for about 2 years. So a undetected hacking group tracked as Metador targets telecommunications, and basically they're putting in some back doors which are allowing them to run a series of commands, copy a file or directory from an attacker-provided source file system. This one, Command 60, actually reads the content of your Chrome user and sends information about it. It will conduct network and system configuration reconnaissance and retrieves data from another implant that resides in the victim's network. So if anything on your network is impacted, then everything will be impacted as well. This has been in a variety of different places, mostly Middle East universities and internet companies. You'll notice that Command 60, this is a Windows format. But actually, they also have a Linux version as well, so us and Linux are not specifically safe. And it actually runs by, once it's deployed, it will deploy itself encrypted in memory. So if it's encrypted mostly in memory and it doesn't have a way to replant itself, it's probably embedded in embedded systems, and a reboot will probably solve this, or at least probably wipe it. I couldn't find any information about whether it reloads itself on system reboot. It's possible it does, but that's exciting to know that unknown malware has been floating around for 2 years. Exciting. And from Tech Republic, why 2FA is failing and what should be done about it. Of course, remember all this move to get away with passwords. Passwords are stupid. Yeah, basically passwords are getting rid of one of those FAs. So when we get rid of the passwords, 2FA becomes 1FA. And it's easily breached. Yay. Now, to be clear, what they're talking about is it's very easy to break into somebody's account if the only 2FA you are providing is an SMS message, because an SMS message is unencrypted. It is easy to steal. It's easy to grab over the airwaves. And if somebody already has the password, they hit the login, you send the password reset, the system interacts with it, grabs it first. And as I've always said, how do I word this? If you have a phone number on your account, and even if you insist the password's right and you are who you say you are, if somebody else has stolen your phone number and they have your phone number, whoever's holding that phone number is the master account holder. Not you, not your password, nothing else, just that phone number. Which means that social engineering hacks that steal phone numbers, or things that simply scrape SMS messages off the airwaves, very easy to do, these all make accounts more compromised. So this is why, if my options are text message or nothing, I do not use 2FA. But every account that requires 2FA that supports it, guess what I'm using? a security authorization token. That's what you should be using, either authentication apps or better hardware keys. The hardware keys, somebody physically has to steal that key to prove who they are. So these are the things that you want to do. It's really failing because of SMS messages, which is sad because so many companies so far behind the time and so completely ignorant about the things that are going on. What's happening is they're like, we got to get on to 2FA. And they don't know of any form of 2FA except for SMS messages. And now they force all their customers on SMS messages, which is extraordinarily insecure. This is absolute ridiculousness. We need to be like, okay, 2FA, forcing it, illegal. Make it illegal. Or if you are going to force it, you have to support a hardware key or an authenticator app, preferably a hardware key. Because an authenticator app, too easy to drop your phone in the toilet. Too easy to lose the corrupted key. You could say, well, I mean, what if you lose your hardware key? Yeah, what if you lose your hardware key? You get 2 of them. And then every account that supports hardware keys, you put 2 of them on. And you lock one of them in a safe that's not going to get lost. So if you lose your primary one, you log back into your account with your secondary one, you delete the first one off the account, and you buy a replacement. This is not rocket science, but, you know, maybe it is, because our world has become incompetent buffoons to the point where 2 plus 2 no longer equals 4, because that's how incompetent we are. You know, I see this week, like, somebody in front of, like, Congress or something, a medical doctor cannot explain that men cannot have babies. What in the world kind of world are we living in? But anyway, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/SwitchedToLinux. You can join us on over there if you want to help support the channel. With that, guys, we will see you next time. Thank you for watching this video from SwitchedToLinux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.